The village of Black Hollow was a place time had long forgotten. Hidden in a valley surrounded by dense, whispering trees, it was the kind of place where people locked their doors at sunset and spoke in hushed tones about things best left unsaid. For years, the village had lived under a shadow, a curse that struck every 15 years, always on the same night. And now, that night had come again. Martha Carter woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. A deep, unsettling silence filled her small wooden cottage. Something was wrong. The cold night air seeped through the cracks in the walls, and the candle by her bedside flickered weakly. She turned to check on her daughter, Lena, but her bed was empty. Martha's breath caught in her throat. The blanket was pushed aside, and the small window beside Lena's bed was open, swaying with the wind. "Lena!" she called out, her voice trembling. No answer. Her hands shook as she stepped closer. Outside the window, in the dim glow of the moon, she saw something that made her heart nearly stop. Tiny footprints leading away from the house, straight into the forbidden forest. She screamed. Within minutes, the entire village was awake. People gathered in front of the Carter house, their faces pale with fear. Among them stood Walter Gray, the village elder, his wrinkled face more grim than ever. "Not again," he murmured, gripping his wooden cane tightly. A man in the crowd whispered, "She's gone, just like the others." Martha clutched Walter's arm. "We have to find her. We have to do something." Walter exhaled deeply. "It's too late." The villagers averted their eyes. They all knew the truth. When the Hollow took someone, they were never seen again. Daniel Carter, Lena's 16-year-old brother, stood in the doorway, his hands clenched into fists. He refused to believe what they were saying. "No," he said, his voice firm. "She's not gone. She's still out there." Walter turned to him with sad, tired eyes. "Son, you don't understand. No one who enters the forest on this night ever returns." Daniel shook his head. "That's just a story. I'm not waiting around while my sister is out there alone." Before anyone could stop him, he grabbed a lantern and a knife and sprinted toward the forest. "Daniel, no!" Martha screamed. But he was already gone, disappearing into the shadows of the trees. The villagers stood frozen, helpless. "God help that boy," Walter whispered. Inside the Black Hollow forest, the air was thick and still. The trees loomed high, their twisted branches clawing at the sky. Daniel held his lantern close, the dim light barely pushing back the surrounding darkness. He followed Lena's footprints, but the deeper he went, the more distorted they became, as if they had been dragged. Then the forest went silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. Daniel stopped, his breath shaky. He had the eerie feeling that he was being watched. Then he heard it. A whisper, software distant. "Daniel, help me." His blood ran cold. It was Lena's voice. He turned his head slowly. In the distance, barely visible through the mist, he saw a small, flickering light. A faint glow coming from a cabin hidden deep within the woods. Something about it felt wrong. Daniel tightened his grip on the knife and took a step forward. He didn't notice the shadows moving behind him.